Hello! Welcome to the very first ever Agriculture Education on the Move activity video. My name is Heather Fletcher. I'm the Program Director for Agriculture Education on the Move, and I have a special guest with me today. Would you like to introduce yourself? Tell them who you are.
Hi, my name is Mia Fletcher. I'm 8 years old and I'm in 3rd grade.
Great. Mia is a 3rd grader. And what school do you go to, Mia?
California Elementary.
California Elementary. Now, Agriculture Education on the Move is traditionally a program designed for 3rd graders where a guest presenter, a guest educator, goes into 3rd grade classrooms all around the state and teaches 10 lessons on agriculture. We cover crop and livestock production, soil and water conservation, nutrition, and even ag careers. Now, this past summer, Mia's class hosted one of our Ag Ed on the Move educators, and she received all 10 Ag Ed on the Move lessons. So she's basically an expert now, and she's going to help us with our lesson today. So welcome, Mia. Thanks for joining us. So speaking of, what you learned this summer and us teaching about agriculture, can you tell me what the word agriculture means to you?
Agriculture means farming and growing stuff.
Absolutely, that's perfect. And I always tell students in the classroom that there's no wrong answer when I ask that question because agriculture can mean so many different things. But yes, it is basically another word for farming, for growing and harvesting crops and raising animals for food and everyday products that we use. Missouri farmers and their families work hard every single day of the year to raise and provide safe, nutritious food for us and products that we use every day. And I'm sure that you talked about that in your classroom this summer, didn't you, Mia? Yep. So speaking of the classroom and school, we know that school is a little bit different this fall for everyone. And so we are so excited to bring some of our agriculture activities to you, to wherever your classroom is this fall. Speaking of, wherever we might be, Mia, where are we today?
Today we're in a soybean field.
We're in the middle of a soybean field. So it's so fun that we can also take our classroom outside and somewhere new as well. So if you are following along with an activity pack today, you can go ahead and pull out your soybean activity plan. Can you find yours, Mia? Yeah, your soybean activity plan, and then your soybean supplies baggie, and have those ready because obviously soybeans are the topic of today's lesson. If you are not following along with an activity pack, no worries at all. Just follow along. You can get your own supplies for the activity and do them anytime. And you can find all of these resources and lots more on our website at www.agmoves.com. Okay, so obviously today we are talking about soybeans. So Mia, you being the ag expert, what is a soybean?
A soybean is it's like a bean, but a soybean, it's a kind of bean that they use in many different things.
That's right. A soybean is a crop, right? And it's a very widely grown crop in Missouri. It is actually the most widely grown crop in the state. And there are soybeans grown on over 5 million acres in Missouri. That's a lot of fields, just like this one, all over the state. A soybean is a plant, right? And plants have an anatomy. Mia, do you know what that word anatomy might mean?
Anatomy means like the parts of a plant.
That's right, absolutely right. The parts of a plant. And so the parts of a soybean plant are important to know, especially if you're a farmer raising them, because understanding the anatomy behind the plant is how you make sure that your crops are healthy. Okay, so the parts of a soybean plant. You have this page in your activity pack if you'd like to follow along. So the first part is the roots. Where would the roots be, Mia?
The roots are at the very bottom.
That's right. And what would the roots' job be?
The roots' job is to collect minerals from the dirt and collect the water.
Very good. The roots anchor the plant to the ground, right? And they soak up water and nutrients from the soil. Very good. Okay, the next part would be the stem. Where is the stem?
The stem is like right here in the middle.
That's right. Yep. And what is the stem's job?
The stem's job is carrying the minerals up to like the parts of the plant.
That's right. It does that. And it's also kind of like the backbone of the plant, right? That's how the plant grows tall, right? Okay, next part. Where would the leaves be? Can you show me the leaves?
The leaves are like all these things on the sides.
Yep. And what do the leaves do?
The leaves collect the water and sunlight and
I think I know where you're going, right? So are the leaves where maybe photosynthesis occurs? Yeah. We've probably all heard that word, maybe in our classrooms, maybe when we're talking about plant science. And agriculture is science as well. And the leaves of the soybean plant are where photosynthesis occurs. And photosynthesis is where plants use carbon dioxide and water and then energy from the sun to create their own food. They can make their own food. They don't have to go to the grocery store like we do for food. They make their own. And then they also release oxygen into the air, and that's what we breathe, right? So the leaves are pretty important. Okay, the last part of the soybean plant is the pods. Which part of the pods?
the pods are the little things that the beans go inside of.
That's right. The pods are where the seeds form, or in this case, that's where the soybeans are. That's right. Okay, so we've talked about the anatomy of a plant. We've learned about those important parts, and farmers have to know about those parts to be sure that they're keeping their plants healthy, right? Right. So another part about a soybean plant is, does it have a life?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a life cycle, right? There's a process by which it goes from being a seed or a little soybean to a field, a plant like this that's getting close to ready for harvest. So it starts out right with a seed, and farmers actually have to go buy their seeds for their fields. They don't just magically appear every year. They have to go purchase their seed from a dealer. They have to know how much they're going to plant and go purchase those seeds to get ready for the growing season. And then when it's time to plant, they take their tractors and a big machine called a planter to plant those soybeans. And what time of year do you think they do that, Mia?
In the spring.
That's right. In the spring, when it's not snowing and not icy anymore, right? So they go and they plant in the spring when the weather starts to turn warm. But they still have to consider the weather because, you know, springtime in Missouri can be kind of crazy sometimes, right?
Yeah, like tornadoes.
Well, the tornadoes and rainstorms, lots of rain, or even it can turn cold again. So farmers have to really watch the weather and try to pick the best time to give their seeds the best chance to grow. So once those seeds are in the soil, a pretty big process occurs, and it's called germination. Do you know what that word means?
Germination means like when a seed starts like to sprout from like the stem to the roots and the leaves and stuff.
That's right. Germination is the process by which the seed sprouts and starts turning into that plant. So the seeds are planted about an inch into the soil and that warm soil, and they get some of that spring rain, and the seeds soak up that water and they start to swell, and then they sprout. And they sprout the beginning of the roots and the beginning of the stem. What are some things that are pretty important for that to happen? What do the seeds need?
Sunshine, water, and rain.
Yeah.
Rain and water is the same thing.
Right. Yep. That's how it gets the water. Yes, those are both very important for germination. Okay, so from there, they have sprouted and they sprout up out of the dirt and they grow taller. As they grow taller, they'll start with leaflets, which then turn into the leaves of the plant, right? And then the plant will flower. Did you know soybeans have flowers? No, they do. Soybeans will have flowers, and the flower is actually where pollination occurs. Have you ever heard of pollination?
Yeah.
Yeah? What does that mean?
Pollination means like, say if a bee or the wind comes and collects the pollen
Yep.
and brings it to another plant or ground area, and then the pollen would drop and then it would help many others.
Right, and that's how the seeds are formed. That's right. And soybeans are kind of neat because they use pollinators, such as bees and things like that, but they can also self-pollinate. So they're pretty cool plants. So after pollination, the plants are then mature, and those pods that we talked about form, and the seeds are inside them. And then in the fall, they are ready for what? What do we do in the fall?
Harvest.
Harvest. And what does harvest mean?
Collect the plants when they're all grown up and
Yep,
ripe.
that's right. And what, do you remember the name of the machine a farmer uses to harvest?
Yeah. I think it's called
Maybe a combine?
combine.
A combine. They're big machines that go into the field and harvest. And this field behind us is getting close to being ready. So it'll be an exciting time of year here very soon down here by these fields. Okay, after the combines come into the field and collect all the soybeans, they're then loaded into big grain trucks that you've probably seen driving down the highway many times.
Mm-hmm.
And those grain trucks will take the soybeans and usually put them in a big grain elevator, or those big tall silos that you've probably seen all over the place. And those can be full of soybeans. And from there, those soybeans can be shipped all over the world. Right? Cool. Yeah? So, but when they're being shipped all over the world, then what do they do with them? What can soybeans be used for? Do you know some of the uses of soybeans, Mia?
Yeah.
Can you tell me some of them?
Sometimes they're put in crowns and
Crayons.
livestock feed.
Livestock feed. That is the main use of soybeans. Yep. So what kind of livestock feed? What's the most that they go into?
Cows, pigs, and chickens.
That's right. So soybeans' main use is livestock feed. And then soybeans and soybean byproducts are used in lots of kind of surprising things.
Soy sauce?
Yep. And then soy byproducts are used in chocolate, tires, turf that can be on a football field, crayons, ink, paint, lots of surprising things. So while you may not very often hear that, the word soybean or think about how it affects you, products that you're using every day use soybeans. So remember that next time you pick up a crayon or go for a drive in your car, because those soybeans are very important to your everyday life. Okay, so now that we've learned a little bit about soybeans, it's time for our fun activity. So if you have your activity pack, you can open up your soybean supply bag. And remember that word we talked about as part of the life cycle, the germination? So we're gonna explore germination a little bit today by making our own soybean germination necklace. Yeah, we got everything we need there. Okay, if you do not have one of the activity packs, you can pull up the supply list linked to this video. But the supplies, all you need is a little plastic baggie, a cotton ball, and some kind of a seed. If you don't have access to a soybean, I would recommend maybe a pinto bean, some kind of a bean where you can really see that process happen. And then everyone will need a little bit of water to finish today's activity. Okay, first thing you can do is pull out the small plastic baggie that's inside the bigger one. Looks like this, okay? All right. So what was one of those really important things that we needed for a seed to germinate? I'm going to let you do yours, Mia, because mine's about to blow away. Do you remember what was something really important we needed?
Water.
Water, that's right. Okay, so you've got your baggie. You may go ahead and pull out your cotton ball. And whether you've got your water in a little cup, in a little bowl, in a little spray bottle, anything will work. But we've got to add some water using our cotton ball. So Mia is going to dip her cotton ball in this water. And then right now it's dripping with water, which I feel like would be kind of like a flood. And we don't want a flood for our seed, right? So she's squeezing out the extra water. You think that's just about right? Okay. She's going to put her damp soybean in the baggie. That's what everyone can follow along and do.
Wait, where did I put my bag?
Okay. All right. So now she's got the damp soy cotton ball. Next, you may grab your soybean out of your baggie and put it in the small one. Put it next to that damp cotton ball. Sometimes you can make a little nest with your cotton ball and put that inside of it. I usually just put it in the bag next to the damp cotton ball and it works just fine. So now seal your bag in the top. Okay, now this is all that you need to germinate your soybean. If you would like to take the next step and use the yarn in your bag to make a necklace out of it, you take the yarn and there should be a little hole in the top of your baggie. And you string it through. And then you can tie it. And there you go. You have a necklace, a soybean germination necklace. Now, oftentimes we make these into necklaces when we're at school because then it's an easy way for students to carry them home. But once everybody gets home, I recommend you find a sunny window in your house or in your classroom, wherever you're at, and get a little piece of tape and tape your little germination bag up in that sunny window. And then here in a week, 10 days or so, you should be able to start to see your soybeans sprout. So keep an eye on those. Take good care of your seeds, just like Missouri farmers take good care of their soybeans every year so they can grow plenty of them for us to use. And remember, farmers are working every single day to provide us food and important things that we use, whether we realize it or not. So thank you, Mia, for helping us today. Thank all of you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed learning about soybeans. So thanks from everyone at Missouri Farmers Care and Agriculture Education on the Move. Bye.
Bye.